Joining us tonight is Tom Fitton, the president of Judicial Watch. Tom and his organization are working diligently, vigorously to try to get to the truth of all of this. And Tom, I want to say, first of all, thank you for being here. President Obama, let's start with him. The former president saying that the rule of law is in jeopardy here. And there was just so much compelling irony about that remark. I don't think most Americans could stand it. Your reaction?
Well, we have new information from Sally Yates, who was interviewed by no one other but the Robert Mueller operation, that Obama was involved in the targeting of Flynn in that infamous Oval Office meeting. And we also have information that he specifically told President Trump, watch out for Flynn. And of course, he and his people were spying on Flynn during the campaign, obviously targeting Trump as well, not telling Trump about their concerns about Flynn, obviously to try to undermine him once he became president later on after the election. Then he comes out and specifically attacks General Flynn. How is that not more evidence that Obama had skin in this game and was directing the targeting of Flynn? Yates says, in retrospect, after that meeting with Obama and the later machinations of Comey and using the Logan Act to ambush Flynn with this illicit interview, she put two and two together. That's what Obama was talking about. So at that meeting, you had Obama talking about the dossier and talking about Flynn. The next day, Comey ambushes Trump with the dossier. A few weeks later, they ambush Flynn. I don't know what more evidence you need than to put Obama at the head of the conspiracy, the Obamagate conspiracy, to target President Trump. And, you know, he had, obviously, Gowdy's right in the sense that you had willing accomplices like Brennan, Comey, and McCabe and company, but they were put there by Obama, and they were directed by Obama. Remember, Obama put together that intelligence community assessment that fraudulently smeared Trump as being a tool of Putin. That was an all-hands-on-deck whistle call by Obama. Obama was front and center here. He should be questioned. Hillary Clinton should be questioned. Everyone in that Oval Office meeting should be questioned, which would include Joe Biden. I don't know what Durham is doing, but it doesn't seem to me like he's even focused on the people Gowdy thinks he ought to be focused on. I'm not seeing any indications that these folks care one whit about what Durham's doing.
The call by Gowdy to ignore the former president's responsibility for putting in motion, and if not putting in motion directly, tacitly at the very least, approving of spying on a presidential candidate and then a president-elect and then a president, is unprecedented. It is outrageous. And we know that the whole thing was not only a conspiracy to overthrow a president, but it was a web of deceit and lies that were the basis for the special counsel and all of the nonsense that the radical Dems, the deep state, and yes, the Obama administration put in motion.
You know, Matt Gaetz is right. I mean, we had zero support when we were talking about Mueller. Frankly, we were almost all alone in highlighting the corruption of Mueller, and the Republican leadership was out there protecting him and highlighting how ethical he was. He was as dirty a cop as anyone else.
Gowdy still is. Gowdy still is.
Yep.
Gowdy is basically, you know, it's inexplicable. I'll leave it at that. Tom Fitton, thanks for explaining so much, as always. We appreciate it, and we're sorry for the abrogated time period we've got here. But thanks, and look forward to talking with you soon.